Hello, dear friends. Here we are with Moment of Harmony with Professor Euripides Barsanulfo. This moment in which we're given an opportunity to calm ourselves down, stop, pause for a moment, and meditate. Meditate about life, about the deep meaning of our existence, and mostly about the fact that at each and every moment we're sowing things that we will reap in the near future or in the late future. It's up to us. We cannot allow ourselves to be puppets in the hands of other people's emotions. First and foremost, we need to calibrate ourselves to our most important relationship. What is it? Our relationship with God. Sometimes it's weird when people listen to this and they're like, really? God? Yeah? We need to go back to what God is, not who He is. Question 1 and answer 1 of the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec. What is God? Not who is God, because God is not a person. But what is God? God is the supreme intelligence of the universe. First cause of all things. Apparently, when people listen to this, what do you feel? Many people told me, Vanessa, I feel somewhat a cold definition. And that's why we have questions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why? Because we need to immerse ourselves in what God really is. No wonder Kardec discloses to us what the illuminated spirits reveal on the attributes of God, the principles of the universe, the elements of the universe. As he says, the universal trinity. They say, matter and spirit are God's creatures. What can we do? That's what God did. And all we have to do is to embrace it. Matter and spirit. And we are the intelligent beings of this universe. Yes, spirits. But matter is also God's creature. Think about this now. Matter as God's creature. And in this introduction, we're creating this inner feeling for us. If matter is God's creature, how can I be conflicted about my body? Conflicted about material things? If all these material things are a derivation of the elementary matter. In our co-creation, we are, the intelligent beings, the spirits, are co-creating with God through the intelligence and expanding the usefulness of matter. In this universal trinity, God, spirit, and matter, we exist. How do you feel? Let's not forget that God told Nicodemus, Nicodemus, you forgot to feel. We can't forget that above any knowledge, there is what we feel, our vibration. If what we know doesn't change our vibratory pattern, the way we feel about ourselves and others, the way we take decisions, basic decisions, moral decisions in our lives, then what is this knowledge all about? It's just what Nicodemus says. I have been study master my whole life as the doctor of the law. And I've been working on these teachings that talk about the promise of the kingdom of God, which we know is that inner peace, the clear conscience. It is happiness, the consequent happiness. To achieve it, I don't yet know how to achieve it. And Jesus smiles, says Brother X or Humberto de Campos in a book, Good News, and reveals to us, Nicodemus, knowledge is not sufficient. You forgot to feel the scriptures. Hopefully, we're being reminded every night and every day that we need to feel them. And as I asked Mentor Joseph one, what is to feel, to rub these teachings on our heart? And he smiled and said, Vanessa, make the teachings personal to you. Customize them to your personal moment. So breathe in and out. And how can these teachings be used at this very moment to trim my life into the Christ-conscious mode? I don't want to restrict to the Christ consciousness to a molding object, but to the molding, sculpting our immortal, millennial mind, right? So what do? Euripides Barsanulfo reminds us it is in experiencing nature, our nature, observing how inside of us we have this divine sense that we're gonna blossom. You wanna hear Professor Euripides Barsanulfo? Me too. So let us go together. The message tonight is longer, a little longer than usual, but not too long. But a beautiful educational system. Let's not forget that the educator, Euripides Barsanulfo, besides being the medium of Jesus, as in the title of this book, as said by Chico Xavier himself, he had a direct connection with Jesus. Euripides Barsanulfo was also an excellent educator. It's not by chance that he was the instrument through which the first spirit school, Colégio Allan Kardec, was founded in this world. Let us feel ourselves right now as if we are in a classroom, listening to him. In his sweet but firm voice, teaching us, opening ourselves to other levels of feeling the scriptures. So he says, much beloved brothers and sisters, may peace and light be in your hearts. Every individual carries within themselves the active or latent principles of the feeling of gratitude towards the immeasurable power which is God. We don't need to teach children about what they already have inside. We just need to facilitate their consciousness. The same for us. This is just a parenthesis before we continue reading. Many people say, I don't believe in God. We would rephrase it. They think they don't. There is a mechanism of defense that we call denial that they are experiencing, and it's probably very likely psychologically rooted. They are probably injured in their spirit, in themselves, the deep ego of many lives, and are in the process of denial. Pushing them, insisting is not going to help. We need to let the wound heal. And it's a process between God and them. Our words are just going to hurt more. Every individual carry within themselves the active or latent principles of the sentiment of gratitude by the immeasurable power which is God. The savage, in their primitivism, senses the existence of a higher being that under different forms yields, to whom this savage yields in their cult of adoration and acknowledgement. the individual traverses through their climb to higher spheres, the most diverse stations of the understanding of the presence of God. So there are levels of awareness in regards to this sensing of the divine. The further the spirit advances in the ascension path, the better the spirit penetrates the wonders of the Creator that are offered to the human understanding. Humanity remains remains aversive to the most important problems of the spirit. That is the reason why pain grows, amplifying the states of anarchy in the hearts, multiplying the tools of painful expiations among humankind, multiplying itself. Parenthesis, because the message is a little longer, we're going to break down as we read. Euripides Barsanulfo is reminding us of what we learned with Kardec, Leon Denis, and other spirits. It's a universal concept. The more we resist to face who we are, the more we're going to face obstacles, the more we are going to be called to be awakened. So pain, as Leon Denis says in the book After Death, pain is law in your world, in our world, the earth. Why? Because we're still very childish. If I could draw to you, for those who haven't been acquainted, before I continue the message, Eric Berne brings to us a good understanding about the ego state of the mind. And now we're going to understand which part of us brings to us greater suffering. Eric Berne shows to us, as you can see in this diagram, that inside our ego states, we have the parent, the adult, and the child. Each one of us has it. The parent is what we have been taught, not only this life, for us spiritists, many lives. The adult is the thought way of being, reasoning, discernment, factual thinking. And children, and the child inside of us, are the feeling part of us. None of them is wrong. Everything is important. But when we are in the childish mode, kicking and screaming because we want that toy that we cannot have, suffering comes. Life comes in an educational mode to teach us. And that's what Euripides Barsanulfo is telling us. When we want to refrain from facing the lessons of life. So when we're facing something like, what should I learn from this situation? The critical parent inside of us also faces great suffering, because it's the authoritarian mode inside of us that is despotic, demanding that our wish be done as well. So either or creates suffering in our lives. It is only the adult that faces responsibility and understands that life is a sum of what we have attracted. As André Louis says, the law of the mental field. We attract what we have emitted. Then we will understand. And life is going to be easier on us because we're going to give a new meaning to the issues of life. Let's continue. Euripides Barsanulfo kindly explains to us. Then, he says, then the need of your spirits to be in tune with the great power, the greatest power, through the union with the Christ. The Christ is the pathway. the Christ is the pathway. The consortium is given through love, because Christ is the personification of love and the only eternal way by which one goes to God. Let us seek the example of labor so that idleness does not prowl our spiritual recovery road. Let us embrace our inner understanding so that the unreasonable intolerance does not overshadow respectable efforts. Let's put a pause before we continue. There are some elements here we cannot miss. I'm going to put a pause here and go back because there are two comments here we need to address. Eric Byrne, E-R-I-C-B-E-R-N-E. Thank you. Sunshine is also asking, some nations are more critical than and others more emotional. Could we say that these nations are more stuck in the critical parent or the child stage? Very likely. We don't want to be simplistic, Sunshine, but it's very likely that we have collective conditionings that may be, let's say, in a way translated in the terms you have exposed. Okay? It's very likely. And it's very insightful that you are bringing ourselves to understanding our contextualizing where we're living in. It's very important when we study ourselves to observe the culture we're living in, because they more likely than not dictate our emotional patterns, our responsive attitude in life, and we need to be observant. By observing the culture in which we are immersed, we can understand ourselves better. So here, Euripides Barsanulfo is kindly saying, to not fall trap in the problems of the spirit, denying, being aversive to facing them, we need to tune with the great power of life. And you're like, how do I do it? Euripides Barsanulfo already discloses through the Christ consciousness. And you may be like, but what does that mean? Now he's going to give it to us. He says, it's about boosting the heart. Love. Seeking the example, working, being laborious. To love is to labor. To love is labor intensive. It's not a given. Right? In the next 24 hours, let's propose one heart work, as Kardec Radio for Kids says, right? Carol Correa and Mark Smith. Heart work. Let us exercise ourselves. Love is only understood when we feel. And we can only feel if we propose ourselves to work effort of our will, goodwill, labor it, and work with it. It's impossible to love somebody, or even ourselves, if we don't labor that feeling. It's an action that generates a feeling. To love, to generate love. To love, to generate love. It takes effort, action, it's a verb, in order for it to be established as a noun, as a vibration, as a vibratory pattern. To love in order to establish a vibratory pattern. And the Christ is our model and guide. So we need to study more. But not to study to know. Matthew chapter 1 verse 22. Luke verse 13, chapters 15 to 17. That is not to feel the scriptures. To feel the scriptures is when somebody challenges us, we're going to give up on the person, or we're going to keep working on it. Protecting yourself. You cannot let yourself be abused. But we need to pray, keep working, and keep reminding the person. If it's our child, we need to remind the child. If it's a spouse, we need to remind the spouse. If it's ourselves. Do you give up easily on you? Many people do. To the point they give themselves a blind eye. They don't see. They don't see themselves in the mirror. Do you? Do you really look at yourself in the mirror? Do you? Because it's hard. If it were easy, and we're not talking about being narcissistic, but looking at yourself soul to soul and acknowledging your body not as you, as we said before. We need to look ourselves as us, spirits connected to this beautiful divine matter that is given to us that we call body, and say, you know, again, you didn't control yourself, right? But I understand. You are feeling fearful, insecure. If we're not understanding and compassionate towards ourselves, how can we expect that life will be understanding and compassionate towards ourselves? So that inner dialogue of self-understanding is very important. When Emmanuel told us in the book Thought and Life, seek the good, feel the good, visualize the good, mold the good with all the resources we can, he's saying, seek the good in you, feel the good in you, visualize the good in you, mold the good in you with all the resources you have at hand. Have we been doing this? And if you don't want to look at yourself in the mirror all that much, close your eyes. Visualize yourself. Visualize illuminated hands caressing you, giving you love. Visualize yourself having a compassionate dialogue. I know you're feeling angry, right? I understand you. It's not easy. But you know that anger is not good for you. If you keep on feeling it, you're going to be sick. So what can we do to help you drain this defensive emotion out? We need to work on it. Cool the flames, as Thich Nhat Hanh says in his book, Anger, Cooling the Flames. We can only cool it down. Anger, in our level of evolution, is instinctive. To make it vanish, it's going to take probably many reincarnations. We still have, in our neurobiology, in a structure named amygdala, which is not the one here, it's in the brain, it has receptors that if you push, they're going to trigger a cascade of events and you may feel angry not knowing why. That's how the obsessors work. I remember doing experiments as a neuroscientist, and we would trigger diverse emotions in animals through only passing electrical currents. This is not a shock because the brain cannot be shocked. It's a stimulation in specific areas of the brain, and you would feel the display, the behavior, or chemical stimulation in certain areas of the brain, and you would see the display, right, Karina Alice? Neuroscience is fascinating. So when we see this, we understand how our thoughts become this mental electromagnetic current that is going to generate true states of being. That's how we understand that we're going to, by the things we eat, by the activities we do, we're going to be generating also stimulation, and thus our mood's going to change. Mind and matter are connected through perispirit. What I eat affects what I'm feeling, and vice versa. What I eat spiritually, through thoughts, feelings, vibrations, is going to stimulate it. So there is no way, right, Alexandra? There is no way I can heal myself and be at peace by going one-dimensional approach. I need to work at a multi-dimensional approach. Psychological, vibrational. That's why vibrational medicine is really the way to go. In a spiritist center, through the passes, the water, the educational, the change of our minds, the way we're thinking is going to change the way we vibrate, but also going to the holistic approach in medicine as well. Psychologically, what we eat, our activities in life, meditating, doing visualizations, etc. So, our dear, loving educator, Euripides Barsanulfo, continues. Let us then, he says, let us translate the luminous lessons of the gospel into actions. Let us express in words of light the uplifting thought of those who have struggled and strive to lead the world to a better plane. You and I have not only our individual duty towards ourselves, we have a duty towards the collective. Allan Kardec, when he asked the spirits why we need to incarnate, 3 reasons. 1, to reincarnate. 1, to learn new things. Often people forget. We think everything is karma. Karma, 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 karma. No. Sometimes you learn something new. You learn something new and it takes effort. It's not easy. And you think the difficulty means it's karma. No, the difficulty means your muscle is weak. You need to work it out. I need to work it out. It's everything we translate into expiation. Not necessarily. That's the second reason why we reincarnate. To redress previous lives' choices. Meaning to revisit. Create, it's our regeneration. Learn the new and revisit the old condition is transforming them. And the third one, which is fascinating, to fulfill our role in God's creation. That's our second exercise for the next 24 hours. Do you feel yourself as being part of God's plan? In the greater scheme of things? Because you do. And I do too. And if you don't know, we'll be in trouble. If I don't know, everybody's going to be in trouble because we're affecting one another. Right? It's like team. A team playing together. We need to do the best we can, or we're messing up with the whole team. No wonder Joana de Angelis, through Divaldo Franco, said, clear cut, we must be happy. Tell yourself, I must be happy, or else it's not only you, it's others. People are being affected. When a parent decides not to be happy, they are affecting their children. When a boss decides to be grumpy, they are affecting the mood of the whole company. It's social responsibility, right? Rudy's saying, we're all in this ocean together. Yeah, we're in this together. Na, 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 na. Yes, that's what it is. Let us plant the miraculous seed of brotherhood in our hearts, in the objectives of collecting the inner vessel, in the inner vessel the productive germ of the examples of the Master of Masters. Let us collect the misunderstandings as sublime gifts in the experimentation of the redeeming pathways. Is it easy when there are misunderstandings? When people don't get us? It is hard. Does that mean you're going to give up? No. Does that mean we're going to... No, we're not going to quit life. We're not going to quit doing what we need to do. We respect them. As the mentors at the SSVA was saying in Kardec Radio the other day, the hardships of pioneers in general in our world, thinking of Gandhi, the pioneer of all pioneers, Jesus, but Moses, Buddha, Mother Teresa, and others, Divaldo Franco, Chico Xavier, Allan Kardec, Euripides, Barsanulfo, is that they bring things that the collective conscience cannot recognize yet. But if they don't do it, out of that lack of comprehension, of understanding, how will they lead that the collective consciousness to another level? So we need to have courage. That's why Jesus said to Bartholomew in the book Good News, the trademark, Bartholomew, the trademark of the follower of the good news is joy. Joy to the world. And what else? Courage. Courage what? To do the good. When nobody understands that that is good. And third, hope. Hope that I will make it, that I will overcome my own inner obstacles, and that others, sooner or later, will catch up. If that's the case. But courage is a great part of it. Joy, courage, and hope. Joy, courage, and hope. Joy, courage, and hope. We should write it down and aim at reinforcing these virtues in our life. When everything is becoming sad and depressed, joy. When we're feeling afraid, courage. When we're feeling that it's not going to work, that maybe I don't trust myself enough, or I don't trust others enough, or I'm not so sure I understand God or I trust in God, hope that I will be able to overcome these fears, insecurities, lack of self-esteem, etc., right? And then, let us express, let us plan, where am I here? I missed it. Let us witness the loss, let us witness the loss, let us witness forgiveness. Let us give testimony of forgiveness. There was a mistake here. Sorry. Let us give testimony of forgiveness in the vault of our hearts, so we can enrich ourselves with the gem of the most sublime charity, forgiveness. In all difficult instants, let us seek the inner harmony, in order that balance may proceed concretely in our spirit. So that's a good technique, huh? Everything is tumultuous, messy. Let's say at work, busy, crazy meeting. And then my head starts spinning, our head starts spinning. Breathe in and out and trigger your relaxation response. Herbert Benson at Harvard University taught us we have an inner system for the relaxation response. Breathing in and out, deeply and slowly. Remember, in and out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. the mess and the busyness of others can be converted by creating that secluded retreat that Joana de Angelis mentions in the book Recipes for Peace. And Child of God, she repeats in different ways. Alexander is kindly reminding us that breathing is called diaphragmatic breathing, exactly. We inflate the lower abdomen and deflate. Inflating, holding, and then breathing out, deflating it slowly. 4, 7, 8 average. Okay? So, he continues. Let us not be contaminated by the negative vibrations of hatred and sentiments of prejudices, so they cannot overshadow the fruits of patience and our inner merits. Let us cultivate serenity, seeking the constant understanding of God's justice, so that this infallible equity may proceed within ourselves in the manifestations of justice towards our neighbor. Let us not allow that one bad word poisons the healed field of sacred affinities, edified in the experiences of centuries. Above all, let us seek the construction of love and justice on the route that will lead us to higher planes. May Jesus support us all. Euripides Barsanulfo on May 14th, 1955. At the end of it all, he gives to us the recipe, cultivating serenity. It is up to us. It is up to us. Right, Dulce? The worst conflict, she says, is when we are conflicted with our own selves, exactly. So we need to cultivate like a garden inside of us. Cultivate. So a good technique is to take a piece of paper and use either paint or crayons or color pencils and draw your inner garden. What are the beautiful flowers, the virtues you already see blossoming there? What are the ones that are already planted in the soil of yourself? We need to garden to achieve serenity and harmony. And you know, the true gardener of us all is Christ on the earth. We are the assistant gardeners. He's always reminding us, have you watered your inner plant today? Is she dry? Yeah? Does she need nourishment or some sunlight? Beautiful thoughts, beautiful feelings. Thank God nowadays we have a zillion resources with technology. And if we don't have technology, we have beautiful nature. Within and around us, in the admiration and contemplation of nature, we shall rebalance ourselves. Let us breathe in and out right now to cultivate that right now. In and out. Visualize that inner garden. Put your hand on your chest to feel at each breath that you're caring for yourself. Visualize your inner garden, flowers that are already blooming, seeds under the soil, others beginning to sprout, beautiful trees bringing fruits, others just promising trees. Let us visualize the sunlight of the Christ shining its rays of life, divine life, bathing us in these beautiful flowers of our virtues. And with our self-love, let us water each and every virtue and smile to them, acknowledging their presence and telling ourselves and to these flowers, I love you, flowers of my heart. I shall take care of you with the greatest care. Forgive me for the days I neglected you, not knowing of your existence. Now that I know of you, I embrace you with my whole heart, and we shall cultivate that inner serenity, that harmony, tuning ourselves with the heart of God. Breathing in and out, in and out, deep, slow, calm ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. Don't forget, you're a child of God. So friend, this is the message of unique message tonight that needed a different pathway to break down. Tomorrow, God willing, we will be back to continue cherishing, cultivating this serenity, this harmony within, which is true synchronicity with God. And just to give us a little teaser, he keeps talking about the heart, and he says, the heart, touched by the sublime feeling of gratitude, brings great joys. Let us seek then harmony in the eternal expressions, and under the merciful look of the Master and the duties, let us understand each and every one we encounter. This is a little bit of the message we're going to be studying to calibrate ourselves. Thank you, dear Rudy, Dulce. Don't forget, when we all go, if you go to sleep, let us be open, friends, to continue this journey in the spiritual realm with the higher spirits, helping others, learning always. And if you're continuing your day, like Rihanna, Julija, and others, keep on being faithful to the proposal of harmony. And thus, as a group, intercontinental group, we will be achieving higher levels of inner harmony as we contribute to the harmonization of the collective. A big hug of gratitude and much love, friends.